Good morning. I'm Michael Walker. I'm the current president of the Urbana Park District Board of Commissioners, and I'm here with some other folks to talk about the upcoming referendum on April 5th of this year. And let me allow others to introduce themselves, beginning over to my right here with Tony Clemens.
My name is Tony Clemens. I'm the former director of campus recreation at the university and a lifelong member of this community and just someone who's interested in supporting recreation in our community.
My name is Carl Larson. I'm a member of the Urbana Park District Advisory Committee, and also with Tony, I've been here for 50 years and much interested in the activities that are available for residents of Urbana and elsewhere.
I'm Vicki Mays. I'm the Executive Director of the Park District.
I'm Corky Emerson. I'm the Superintendent of Recreation for the Urbana Park District.
Okay, just to give a little perspective and lead in as to why we're here and why the Urbana Park District is coming to the voters about a referendum, an 11-cent referendum on April 5th of this year. Many of you will recall that we passed a referendum, a 15-cent referendum, back 2 years ago, April of 2009. And as part of that process, and one of the things we promised that we would do is that we would develop a plan for an outdoor facility to replace the then recently closed Crystal Lake Pool. And we have indeed gone through an extensive planning process and dealing with the community to try to determine what we thought was the right size project for this community to meet the needs that we perceive are there, make sure that there was plenty of public input. And we wanted to carry this along far enough and in enough detail that we could pretty accurately project costs. Can't do that precisely, but we've done a really careful job working with the ratio architects and Councilman Hunziker and also with Tony Clemens here in terms of this public process, developing a concept plan and trying to put a price tag on it. And we'll cover in a little more detail what all we think is included in this, but we've made this good faith effort, and now we're coming to the public for this community to decide, do we want an outdoor aquatic facility of this sort or not? This is what it's going to cost, and now's the time for the community, not just a board sitting off someplace, to make this decision for Urbana. And we're ready to begin doing that.
And so, as Michael was saying, it was a very extensive process, and we had done many things throughout the last 2 years to reach out to our citizens to find out just what it is that they want in an outdoor facility. We had gone and we've done lots of study sessions and planning sessions. We've gone to lots of different facilities to see what kind of new and exciting things are offered in the aquatics field today. We've included kids, we've included adults of all ages. We took different phases of the process as far as features, out to different programs and special events to where our residents could respond to the things that we were looking at. Some of the message that we heard was that we need both an indoor and an outdoor pool. We have the last 2 summers have only had the indoor facility, and during the summertime it's made it extremely difficult to serve everyone's needs. So, for example, our Nadiators program, we've been fortunate to have a site that we can go to and practice. We can't hold meets at the facility that we're using, but we can do our practices. It's not the ideal situation, but it is working so far. But once we try to move everyone into the indoor facility, we become overcrowded, and at that time, what that does is it prevents us from serving our residents as well as we would like to serve them. We also have problems trying to meet the needs of our fitness participants. It's been a history of having a lot of water exercise classes outside. That goes from anything from your deep water aerobics to your shallow water aerobics to just having lap lanes for our citizens to swim in. What we're trying to do with this overall is to provide a comprehensive aquatics program, and that will serve the customers who are just indoor users and the customers that are just outdoor users. And the people have spoken, and as you see in our concept, we have a lap pool that will be open for our Nadiator swim program. It'll also be there so that we can offer more adult lap swimming. In turn, we'll be able to offer more adult lap swimming at our indoor pool. As you look through the rest of the concept, you can see that we have something for all ages, and we're trying to make it so it's a multi-generational, multi-skill level facility. We have swim lessons that are at a high demand. We do serve a lot of youth and adults in our swim lesson programs, and by having an outdoor facility, we'll be able to serve even more.
One of the active public involvement in this was the Urbana Park District Advisory Committee. We certainly have actively sought their counsel with regards to this, and I think Carl Larson is here a little bit, perhaps to describe his sense of the advisory committee's view of how this went along.
Sure. Yeah, one of the opportunities there are for Urbana residents to become involved in what's going on in the Park District is this advisory committee. I know there was an announcement in a paper last year sometime seeking to know of people that were interested, and I filled it out, and Vicki called me, and Ellen, and I became a member, been a member for a little over a year. But anyway, with regard to our activities, we are indeed just an advisory committee. But as such, we have an opportunity to learn and to know what's going on and to have input to different matters that come before us. Obviously, the big item these days is the oncoming referendum for the pool, and a number of things have been done. There's been a very nice fact sheet that's been put out that about the pool referendum, and the advisory committee did have some input to that. As a person associated with the Park District, the group itself can't be an advocate of the pool, although we all strongly support it. And our intention in the way of activity is simply to make the information available to as many people as we can. I'm totally convinced that if people will take a good look at this and recognize the benefits for the community, it makes for a good thing. I guess that's what I can say about that.
Okay. And Tony, did you want to describe a little bit your process in moderating some of the public meetings that we had?
Well,
leading into this?
yeah, thank you, Michael. I think my role has been just to try to create first a vision of what's going on in communities and environments where I've worked with other organizations and processes like this. It's so important to keep the community involved, which I think the Park District has done a good job at, and and so try to help people understand all of the parameters of the process and the concept that's presented. One of the things that Corky talked about was the relationship to the outdoor pool, the indoor pool, for example. And I think what we found is that many people understand the psychological difference between an outdoor experience and an indoor experience, and particularly swimmers and young kids and young people. And that the two facilities together, I think, demonstrate a comprehensive approach to aquatics in Urbana, and to really urge people to look at those as two different types of settings which together create the overall aquatic experience. So also I've been a big supporter of research, and I know the Park District has done a lot of research on this, and I think that research shows, I think, supporting the community and a good understanding of what the advantages that a new outdoor facility would bring.
Thank you. So, what is it that we are asking of the voters, I think, is a big question at this point, and that is we're seeking a referendum for 11 cents. What are we going to do with that money, and how much is it going to cost the individual homeowner? And just to put that in perspective, a $100,000 house, this would increase the taxes $37 a year. If you have a $200,000 house, that would be $74 a year in increased taxes. And then what do we think we can cover with that 11 cents? Well, the bulk of that money will go to pay off bonds for building the pool itself. That's the majority of it. But we heard very strongly, I think, the sense that if we're going to build a pool, we also have to plan that it will be renewed a bit along the way. You got to have a little bit of money in there to make sure that it remains well maintained, so that we don't just run a pool for 25 years and close it down, that we actually have the support for an aquatics program that is self-renewing in that sense, and we would have the financial resources to maintain a pool over really the long term. If the community chooses to do this, that we're going to do it right and make sure that we plan from the beginning, that it isn't just 25 years and out, that it's a renewing kind of program. And we've also, in trying to figure out the finances of this and this planning process, have tried to aim for, if you will, a kind of a sweet spot. It's simply not the case anywhere, I think, in the country that you can count on a pool to support its operations year in and year out. You may have a good season now and again where the revenue will actually be over the expenses and running a pool, but fundamentally you gotta put some tax dollars into having that facility available and running it. And what we have aimed to do was put enough features into this concept plan that will draw users in here, that we can kind of get the maximum return on the tax dollars we're putting in there. That is, that we can get enough people through the gate to hit kind of a sweet spot of the recovery of the money going into it. So we're trying to minimize the tax dollars going into it, but they will be there. And this 11 cent figure is pretty much where we came down with to do a project of a size that will be an attractive use, have the maximum recovery percentage out of that. And so that is how we came down in that kind of process in doing this. And again, and I can't emphasize this enough, the 11 cents includes making sure that we have enough money to maintain this facility into the foreseeable future.
So why don't we get a good idea of what's involved in the concept, so we can actually focus on the great picture that we've got of the concept here. We can walk through what it is. And first of all, there's been a pool in Crystal Lake Park in this location since about 1928. And the first pool that was there was actually a leisure pool. It was an oval pool. It was designed for people to play and have fun and do a little bit of swimming, do a little bit of diving. The second pool that was in Crystal Lake Park was a rectangular pool, pretty typical of the 60s and 70s, and lasting on until, for as long as it could last, until it had to be closed 2 years ago in 2008. But this pool has elements of both of those old traditional pools. It is in Crystal Lake Park. The Park District did an evaluation of other potential sites, and this is still the best site for a pool. So what you'll notice is that it has 3 levels to it because of the natural environment there and the landscape. It will have 3 levels. On the level closest to what it will be a proposed new bathhouse is a tot pool and a youth pool. All of the recreational components of the pool have a 0 depth entry, so folks that are enjoying the pool can walk in, don't have to go down steps. There's a small tot area that has play features that's separate from the larger tot area. We're right now in the northwest corner of the pool, the first thing that, as you come down the stairs. So these two pools are tot pools and youth pools. Then moving over to the east side, the northeast side is a high energy area that's really designed for teens. One of the things that we were told over and over again is it's very important for you to find things that will engage teens and keep their interest. So this has a deeper area. It has a plunge area for one water slide of 9 feet and another water slide for 6 feet. It has right now it has a very unique slide proposed, and that's one that allows people that are sliders to slide down as fast as they can and have a unique experience at the bottom by traveling around a bowl-shaped area until they enter the pool. It also has play features in it like a balancing walk that could be a lily pad walk or a log roll walk or something like that, that youth and teens can use to try their skill. Then on south of that is another leisure pool. This is designed for more adventurous and higher skilled youth and adults. There's plenty of areas to sit in the water on the edge of the pool in the zero depth area. There's a current channel. A current channel is kind of like a lazy river without the inner tube. A lot of times people will use noodles with this, but it has a fast enough current that you can move around with your feet off the ground. A different kind of experience. One of the things that we really tried to do is design with our citizen advisory groups and including our youth what was interesting and what was different than we've seen in other local facilities. And then onto the southwest corner of the pool. I'm probably getting all of those directions wrong. I'm sitting here looking at the concept and not really at a map. But in the southwest corner, or the left lower area, is a lap swimming area and a competitive area. This is where our nadiators will be able to take advantage of the Nadiator Swim Team program, where lap swimmers can cover the depth of this is, Corky's going
to 9 feet.
9 feet, from 6 feet to 9 feet, and it does have a diving board on the end of it. We can hold swim meets here and not have to close the rest of the pool. Some other features are lots and lots of shade, a sand play area, and a spray ground. And one of the things that's changed over time is the way people play in the water. Most people play, the figure is that 90% of the people play in water that's 3 feet deep or less. And it's a way for people to be active, but what we found is that when a new design of a facility is created with these leisure areas, with areas where children and adults can play, they become more interesting, and the number of people that choose to come to a pool and participate dramatically increases, sometimes by as much as 3 times the past participation. It's a quick overview.
And we would like to point out that there is additional information online about this. You can see the layout of the concept plan. Again, it's a concept plan, not a final design, but it does include all the features that we think can be put in at the price tag that we're projecting. And also there is information, this all is at urbanaparks.org. You'll be able to find a Q&A covering some of the things that we're doing here today, and also showing the business plan, or how we projected the costs out, and how this will be put together. So you don't have to be taking notes as you're watching here today. You can go online and get some additional information at your leisure. Now, I think at this point we have a pretty basic description. This is
Yeah.
Tony, you had
Well, I was
something
just
you
going
wanted
to
to
point
add?
out in support of what Vicki said is that I think the Park District has laid out a concept, a design that identifies the multiple and diverse usages of aquatic space in today's world. And it's designed in such a way, which I think is pretty neat, because beginning with the spray ground and the sand areas, for example, as individuals grow, age, their interests change, they actually have the opportunity to migrate through the pool to different areas of the pool that may now meet their needs. In addition to that, I think this pool continues a tradition which supports the basic skills of lap swimming, of the ability to learn how to swim, which I think is so important in our communities, because there are lots of individuals who want to take advantage of aquatic activities and actually they don't know how to swim. And from a safety standpoint, this not only encourages them to swim, but gives them additional opportunities to swim. And I think what you'll see in this particular concept is that it augments and supplements activities that exist in the community, but also brings a uniqueness and some new activities to the community that don't presently exist.
And I think it's worth emphasizing again that this was designed as a family facility.
Mhm.
Again, as Tony and Vicki have been saying, we're trying to cover a full age range, and that people can grow with the pool, so to speak,
Right.
that there will be things continue to be done there.
One other important thing to point out is they've mentioned the spray ground. That spray ground, one of our intentions with that is to expand our seasons. The spray ground is a facility that you can open quicker and close quicker. So that's something we plan on opening when the weather starts turning nice in April, to be able to get people into a water atmosphere, a water rec experience. And we plan on, while the pool's closed, that spray ground will be open so people can come in. And then again, when we open the pool near Memorial Day, then it'll become the overall experience of the pool. But if we have inclement weather and the facility has to close, the spray ground would be something that we could open up if the weather turns nice for an hour or two in the evening. Everyone's been involved in going to the pool one time or the other, and the weather was bad, and you want to take your kids after dinner because the weather's now turned sunny and beautiful out, and you get there and it's not open. So this is one of those features that we can extend and take care of some of those type of situations. Also, at the end of the year, never fails, the kids go back to school. Labor Day comes and goes, and it's 95 degrees, and the kids have been in the classroom all day. This is also something that we can keep open longer in the season. If we went off last year, we could have went to about mid-October. So I think that's an important and unique thing, one of the unique things we have to offer with this facility.
And it can open up early. I mean, it's not uncommon to get a really hot day in May before
Right.
before Memorial Day. The water in a pool would not be warmed up, but boy, it can be plenty hot enough. A spray ground is something that could be opened and used early in the season.
Corky, maybe you can also share actually the surface water, the size of this pool in comparison to pools in Champaign and in Rantoul.
Okay. I'm going to do the best I can with the numbers, but they are online. But if you look at this particular plan is 16,400 square feet of water surface. Our old pool is 12.7. Crystal Lake Pool is 12.7. The pool at Champaign, their new Sholem pool, is 24,000, and 10,000 of that is their lazy river, 10,144. If you've ever seen the Rand Tool facility, it's around 12,800 square feet. And if you've been to the new pool in Monticello, that is around 8,100 square feet. So roughly, that is what we're looking at from the square footage standpoint. So I touched base a little bit earlier on some of the programming and how this affects our overall aquatics program. I want to mention a couple others. We talk about, we have summer camps at the Park District, and it's always been a tradition for our camps to go to Crystal Lake Pool. I think that was one of the big draws for the kids. You know, you go and you play hard all morning and you're having fun, but at the same time it gets hot during the day. And so we would take them to Crystal Lake Pool. The last couple of years, obviously we haven't been able to do that, but we have gone to the Indoor Aquatics Center, not as often as we used to go to Crystal Lake because we don't have the space for that. But again, I like to point out what we fill up with programs then deters how many people can come from the general public. And obviously we want to be able to meet the needs of all of our residents and community members, but at the same time we have to look at our camps and our programs that are going on, and that's an experience that is included in what we offer. So having a facility of this nature will help with that. Also, the old Crystal Lake Pool, we had lots of camps, not only from Urbana, we had lots of camps from all over Champaign, Urbana, and local communities that would come to Crystal Lake Pool back when the pool was open, and lastly in 2008. From the another area of programming is, I talked a little bit about our Nate Eaters program. Again, this will offer anything and everything we can do. From an aviator standpoint, we're going to have, as you can see in the concept, it's got a nice setting to where for meets, we can run a meet and we can still keep the rest of the pool open for our community, which is huge, and it's a unique opportunity that we would have with this design. A lot of times, especially with today's pools, the lap lanes are built into whatever design you have, and so the rest of the pool's got to be closed. With our old Crystal Lake Pool, you know, if we had a meet, we had to be shut down for quite a while to go through the meet. And again, that's not meeting the needs of our community as a whole. So I think it offers that experience. At the Indoor Aquatics Center, we have lap swimming for adults. As Tony mentioned earlier, there's a true difference between an outdoor pool user and an indoor pool user. And we have a lot of people that will swim laps only in the summertime and only outdoors. We have a few that will make the transition and come over to the indoor pool, but mainly they're two separate groups. The problem we have at the indoor is that we don't have enough time to be able to offer the lap lanes, the availability of lap lanes swimming only, which with this plan, again, we'll be able to offer more time at the indoor pool for lap swimming, and we'll be able to offer obviously more time at the outdoor pool. So